All right, Coach, thanks for joining us. I thought about you last weekend when I sat in the stadium, Military Appreciation Day at Auburn. I thought of all the good things you're doing, and I know you've been on a trip recently over to Asia, and we'll talk some football in a minute, but I'm sure our listeners would love to know a little bit about your trip and if you thought we made any progress over there.
Well, I'm on the Armed Services Committee, Doug, and you have to take so many trips a year to go to military bases, and 4 or 5 of us decided let's just go to the Indo-Pacific, which is all the islands in the Pacific that some are ours and some are our allies. And so we took a 27,000-mile trip in 10 days, 55 hours on a plane, and we went to Hawaii, where we pretty much organize everything for the Pacific through our military. Then we went to Guam, which is our first line of defense for the United States. Went to Manila, and then to Taiwan, Taipei, to meet with the president, President Tsai. And then we went to India and had a meeting with Prime Minister Modi, who's a huge ally of ours. Obviously, they're a huge country, maybe the biggest in the world now, even past China. But met a lot of good people, talked to a lot of good generals, admirals. We've got a great plan. We know China's trying to push us around, trying to push Taiwan around and all the islands there. And we can't let that happen. So I was in India when the games were being played last week, and I couldn't get any football games. So I kind of tried to keep up with it, but it was hard to do that. But it was a great trip, and we've got great allies. We do have big problems in the Indo-Pacific with China, because, Russia just wants to have power. China wants to control the world. And so we're trying to get ready for whatever they want to do over there. And I'm sure sooner or later, they're going to try what they did with Hong Kong, is try to jump about 70, 80 miles of water over into Taiwan and try to take them over.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to sit back and think about that? Being a U.S. senator and being a college football coach, I know there are differences and similarities. Do you enjoy one as much as the other?
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed football. I mean, just being around the kids and the coaches and the fans, and, you have 12 days a year, you've got to compete and win. Here, obviously, this is more important, because this is life. This is life for everybody, not just in our country, but all over the world. And some of the decisions that you make, can either hurt you or help you. So I enjoyed, of course, there's nothing like college football. There's nothing like it. I miss it. Everybody says, do you miss it? I say, I miss Saturdays. I miss the sideline, the coaches, the players, the half times, the pre-games, all the things that go along with it. And then the fans. The fans are what make, college football. And of course, the citizens of this country is what makes our great country. So there's a little bit of carryover.
Let's talk about the Tigers a little bit. Everybody knows about the quarterback situation by now, heading to South Carolina this weekend for a big SEC game. Your thoughts on Bo's injury and TJ taking over? I know that's a tough situation for any young quarterback coming in to fill those shoes of Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's tough. I thought Bo was probably one of the most improved players in the conference, just watching him through last year, and then with the coaching transition going to more of a underneath the center and more of a pro style quarterback. But the thing Bo could do and learn to do, and just the LSU game, several other games just come to mind of how he made a big play out of a bad play. We're not great on the offensive line. We're inexperienced, and the quarterback had to make plays with his legs. Just unfortunate, because he gives Auburn a chance. He gave a chance, and it's a little bit of carryover. I look back over the years in the Georgia game one year, I lost. Carnell had broke his ankle. Yeah. Ronnie Brown hurt his ankle, and we didn't have a running back going into the Iron Bowl the next week, and everybody just counted us out for dead. And little old Trey Smith rushed for 175, 180. And we win the game. So, it's everybody's looking forward to next week, the Iron Bowl. I always do that because it's the best game in college football. But you got the South Carolina game this week, and got to prepare for that. And this will be a good inauguration for this kid that's going to play quarterback. He's going to have to learn quick to give Auburn a chance.
Yeah, speaking of the Iron Bowl, I was going to ask you about recruiting. I know Coach Harsin and his staff are working hard on that, and that's a big priority. A lot of kids coming in next week to the Iron Bowl. Uh, they're down a little bit right now. How hard is it for them to recruit with Alabama on one side, what they're doing, and Georgia on the other side, and all the teams around them? Uh, they've got a tough task there.
Organization is the key to winning in recruiting, and he's got a lot of guys that's never been in that fight, and you got games on Saturday, but it's a fight every day in recruiting, 365 days. You got Tennessee up north, and you got Mississippi and LSU on your left, and Florida at the bottom of you, and then you got Georgia over there that's rolling. They're a rolling ball of butcher knives. And when we were really good, Doug, half of our football team was from Georgia, and so I made the decision when I came in '99. I already knew a lot about the conference because being at Ole Miss, so that was a plus. And I knew I had to have coaches that could recruit Alabama and Georgia and Florida. And so that's the type of coaches I wanted. And again, every coach on my staff had schools in Georgia, every one of them, because I wanted to just let all those coaches know, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're for your players. And of course, we recruited Alabama from top to bottom, and then of course went down to Florida. But I think Georgia is the whole key to almost every school in that league, because Georgia has so many good football players, have so much population over there. It's just you cannot win. And I hope Coach at Auburn understands that. He better, but recruiting is the lifeblood. It's not. You can be a basic coach in the SEC, but if you're a great recruiter, you're going to win championships.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he understands that. He's got some guys on his staff from Georgia, but talk a little bit about Coach Harsin and his first year in the Southeastern Conference. Do y'all talk at all, visit at all, or how do you think he's doing?
I saw him when he first got to Auburn, and saw him in a restaurant, and we stood and talked for about 20 minutes. And I just welcomed him and welcomed not just to Auburn, but the SEC. This is a little bit different animal that he's gotten into. And I told him that. And I said, there's no reason for me to give you any kind of pep talk or give you kind of any advice. I want to do that after your first year, because you need to understand yourself. People can't tell you what you're getting ready to go through. Fans can't tell you. Your assistants can't tell you. You as a head coach are going to have to realize from own hand experience of what you've gotten into, the great place that you've come to, the great state of Alabama, Auburn, a great school. You're going to have to find that out by yourself, but you're also going to have to find out on your own of what you got to do to make it work.
I wanted to ask you, I'll let you go. I know you got things to do, but the targeting penalty in college football, when I watched that game last week, and I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but the play that TD made on the quarterback, to me, was one of the most beautiful plays on defense that I've seen Auburn make this year. And it really seems like that penalty has affected the game and the way the defensive backs are kind of ducking and shying away from making a tackle. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and maybe where we're heading on that in that direction.
Well, I'm the same with you, and I was on the rules committee for a long time, and I was on the committee when this went in. I was definitely against a game suspension for targeting. I think it's way too much. I think that there's a lot of times you can't help but to have helmet-to-helmet contact. I think there's times when it is flagrant, but it should be a lesser penalty. Players could understand that. You can move it back to a series or a number of plays that they have to stay out. But for a complete game, what happens is officials decide the game. And I've seen replay officials make huge mistakes in targeting, huge mistakes. And if you can't make a 100% accurate decision on the field and in the press box by watching it 100 times, how in the world, why should you penalize the players for that? So I wish they would say, listen, we're totally against targeting, but we're also for making sure that we don't decide a game. Let's go to a 10-play penalty something that's not near as egregious. And if we did that, referees would be a lot more apt to say, hey, this is targeting. You would probably get more, but it would be less of a penalty. And I think you would do away with probably more targeting by doing it that way.